Big thanks for joining me once again. It's of course TMI, and Merry Christmas to you Nigerians and viewers on independent television. My name is Philip Omo Gupon. We're quickly on the first discussion today, and also we're looking at, it's a twin conversation we're going to be having, twin topics. We'll look at the media chart as it also encapsulates the stampede noticed in Oyo, in Badon actually, where charitable groups we are really sharing food items that caused a whole lot of chaotic scenarios that brought about the death of over 30 persons. And of course, we also had that in Anambra State, Okia precisely, that also recorded over 20 deaths, and that of the Holy Trinity Catholic Church in Abuja that recorded about 10 deaths. And altogether, we have over 60 deaths recorded. And in the media chat by the president, he really spoke about this and expressed sadness over it, but also didn't fail to blame the organizers for this stampede. Joining me to discuss this, starting from my immediate left, I have a clergyman and also a barrister at law, and he is notable for that, Greg Iyayi. Thanks for joining me, Greg.
Good morning, Philip, and Merry Christmas in advance.
Thank you.
And good morning, all our viewers.
And next to Barrister Greg Iyayi is the chairman of Young Lawyers Forum, Benin Bar, and he is Osamwede Ogbomo. Thanks for coming, Osamwede.
Good morning, Mr. Philip.
All right. All right. Joining me, Vazom is also a legal practitioner, and he is Damisa Itote. Good morning, Damisa. He's joining me via Zoom from Abuja. Okay, as the show progresses, we could have an opportunity to have him join via Zoom. Let's quickly look at what transpired, over the stampede. But again, let's start with the thoughts of the president during the media chat yesterday. He did say that he is blaming the organizers for the stampede. And again, Femi Falana also said that he is rather blaming the federal government for the criminal negligence on one part and poverty inflicted on Nigerians as a result of the ill policies of the government. What are your thoughts?
You see, I cannot reconcile what the president was saying with his semi-expression of sympathy. Because he said he had no regret about removing fuel subsidy. And then at the same time, he forgot, or he seemed not to have admitted, that the removal of fuel subsidy actually inflicted economic hardship on people in a dimension we have never seen in this country. And the refusal to acknowledge that fact, to me, is something I cannot even understand. Because Nigerians have now been reduced to a situation where, when you talk about food, people have been in the street protesting because of hunger. So, why is he not to blame? Why is he not to blame? I agree that the organizers, they have their own guilt. But I think the hardship in the country is what has made all this distribution of palliatives and food items during ceremonies, such a big event that it ought not to be. That people are asked, look at the loss to the nation. Those children that were lost, who knows what they would have become, what they would have contributed to the politics, to the economy, to the social development of this country. We have lost them.
Okay, but if the right protocols were really taken or observed by the organizers, do you think this would have happened? Because we've already, like what the president said, he even is involved in sharing of these palliatives and food items, for people, and he has never experienced this, according to what he said.
Yes.
So don't you think, on the part of the organizers, they should have done the needful in that regard?
I agree. Like I said, they share the guilt, but if the guilt is 100%, I think the government takes 80%,
Oh.
and the organizers 20%. It happened in Borno. This kind of thing happened in Borno, and we lost some young undergraduates because they were sharing rice. What has made Nigerians to now become so pauperized that when you are talking of food, rice, you see them even wanting to risk their lives? You know, because it's a question of the four lepers. You know, either we move, if we stay here, we will die. Let us try our luck. So it's a very sad situation. The president should take the blame, because we were not in this position before, and we are now in this position. So he should share in it. I know that the organizers, you know, for not putting in place certain protocol, because there are protocol. We last Sunday, because we don't like as pastors coming to talk of what the church does. You know, we shared palliatives.
Oh.
In our church,
But there was no stampede anyways.
No, myself as the pastor, I was not even aware that it had been done till after it was done. It was done so seamlessly. But let me say this, that is different from, you know, public, very big events where you have many people gathering.
Yeah.
People have been so reduced to poverty that when you talk of food, when you talk of rice, you see they are ready to take any risk.
Yeah, it's a very sad commentary, and we hope to have a change narrative. But reports just reached me, we now have connectivity from other public affairs analysts in the person of Damisa Itote, a barrister at law. Good morning, barrister Damisa.
Good morning, Mr. Philip.
Good morning, good to have you join. And how is Abuja today?
Thanks for having me. Abuja is bright and sunny.
Okay. We want to have your thoughts, because we heard what the human rights lawyer Femi Falana said concerning the stampede. And again, the media child of the president said that a lot of blame, he blames, categorically quoting him, that he blames the organizers for the stampede that occurred. Who do you blame, or what are your thoughts on this?
Well, for me, I think it's not the right time to be ascribing blames to people. But before then, let me quickly express my sincere condolences to those that lost their lives in the three places, Anambra, in Okija, Ibadan, Oyo State, and of course here in Abuja. It's quite unfortunate what has happened. Flowing from what Mr. President said, I do not think it's proper to be ascribing blames at this critical time. Because the honest truth is that this whole stampede issue is not novel in this country. In 2013, it happened in Kwara State, where several people lost their lives during this Yuletide, or Yuletide as it were. Then in Rivers State in 2022, it occurred. So it's a recurring decimal, in this season. Christmas, the Salah celebrations happened, like Pastor Greg said, or Bishop Greg said. So it's been happening. So I do not think we should be looking at blames. Rather, we should be looking at the root cause of this. Why is there stampede? First, two issues. First, there is hunger. Second and most important issue is that we are disorganized. We are a disorganized people. Sorry to say it, that is the truth. We are absolutely disorganized. And that is the problem. There is hunger everywhere. There is hunger in Nigeria, there's hunger in Africa, and there's hunger, across the globe. And like Mr. President said yesterday, there are food banks, even in saner climes, United States, UK, and other, countries. But you see them well organized. Take a look at our churches. I think that is the only place where you can have a semblance of organization. Every other place, our markets, look at our political rallies. You will be ashamed of your. Are we subhumans in this part of the world? So clearly, the issue of organization should be called to question. Agree there is hunger. There is hunger. We should be able to organize ourselves and collect whatever needs to be collected. We did yesterday, just like what Pastor said, we also had an event where over 10,000 people got palliative in my church, the Commonwealth of Zion Assembly, COSA. Absolutely well organized. Because we follow what Jesus Christ said or did. Sorry, I'm a Christian, I have no apologies, but let me just make reference to it. When he wanted to feed 5,000 people, he organized them into 100 groups of 50. He said, sit down. That is just men. The Bible only recorded men. We're not talking about women. We're not talking about children. And he organized them. He said, sit down in 50s, into a group of 100. Palliative were shared, food was shared to these people. And 12 baskets were remaining. So if we are organized people, if we are organized, if we are not chaotic in nature, some of these things, they are avoidable death. So I don't want to say we should be blaming ourselves at this point, but we should go back to why we are not an organized country. Look at our bus parks. Look at on the road. Even where we have traffic lights, you see people breaking traffic lights, doing all sorts of, because we are inherently disorganized as a people. So we must be looking at that to address some of these issues. For me, the issue of blame, there is hunger. You can't look at it. Look, there was hunger in Jesus' time, and that was why he fed people. There was hunger. There will always be hunger, but we must look at how we can address ourselves, organize ourselves, and desist from being unruly, as a country. That is my take.
Misa, if you understand, like I know you basically understand what Nigerians are going through. Now, the president made some positive remarks, and again, some also see it as negative remarks when he said he had no regret over the fuel subsidy removal. And if you heard what Barrister Greg said, the removal of the fuel subsidy in a way that some have said that it shouldn't have been removed, brought about inflation rate in Nigeria. And you can see a number of persons that are dying today. Don't you think the president should, or how do you see the policies of the government today in addressing poverty in the land? You made mention of other climes where even the president also said so, where there is organization. And of course, you also made mention of your church, where there is also. But are you forgetting the fact that it is the core responsibility of the government to reduce poverty or hunger in the land by implementing the right economic policies to do that? But are you seeing that being done by the administration of President Bola Tinubu?
Well, for me, without apologies to anybody, I feel some of the remarks of Mr. President were insensitive, with all due respect. Look, we are in desperate situation. Your economic policy or the economic policy of Mr. President actually adversely affected the purchasing power of Nigerians. You cannot rule it out. That is a direct correlation of some of the tragedies and some of the squalid condition we are facing today, in Nigeria. I feel the president could have been more sympathetic or empathetic to Nigerians than making some braggadocious statements and all of that. But that being said, whether we like it or not, I subscribe to the removal of subsidy. Because we cannot be spending money that we do not have. Sometimes they borrow to even, subsidize some of these products for some people. But I subscribe to gradual removal of this subsidy to avoid this kind of scenario we are facing today. Sometimes you go to the shopping mall and you buy some things, even with the level of, blessings that God has blessed some of us by the grace of God. And you look at and you ask yourself and say, how do other people survive? Without casting aspersion at some of the message, some of you that sent me a message recently, somebody told me yesterday that he is unable to afford a mudu of rice, that he needed a certain sum for him to augment the money. And I looked at my son and I give glory to God because I have a bag of rice, in my store. By the grace of God, I extended what I needed to give him or what he requested for. I added to it because it was unprecedented. It has never happened before. So the situation, the economic policy of Mr. President is taking a toll on Nigerians, and we must be clear about that. We mustn't be apologetic or be trying to be politically correct in this period. But is it going to have positive effect in the long run? Time will tell. But
Thank you,
now,
Barrister Damisa.
For now,
thank you.
policies are harsh.
All right. Thank you, Barrister Damisa. You just made an announcement that you have a bag of rice, and I hope that we'll still
Yes,
have
I
some
do.
to have a share from what you have over there. There's hunger in the land, don't forget.
I
Thank
can
you. All right. So let's get your thoughts about the media chat and the remarks of the president. How well do you greet this?
Okay, watching the live media chats of Mr. President, he made mention of the people who are not organized. They ought to be accused and they ought to be organized enough to access this food. These issues are not novel. We have been in Nigeria where we have political rallies, we have organization of events, and we see how Nigerians behave in these situations. And I think, first of all, I think the organizer ought to know that when you do something like this, especially if it's large scale, I will know how Nigeria react to things like this. There's hunger, people are more poorer, people are more impoverished. I think they ought to avert their mind to the fact that some things might go wrong. Some things might go wrong. Because before in the past, things like this were mainly for beggars, indigent persons, people that cannot afford even 1 square meal a day.
Yeah.
But now we are seeing persons that are workers, we are seeing laborers, we are seeing blue collars, job holders, white collar job holders. They are coming for this event. And over the years, we have seen increase in persons that look forward to this particular charity event every year to have access to food for their family. So I believe they should have averted their mind to the fact that there are more persons and they should do it in a place that is more accessible. That is on one part. So I can understand the point of the president on that particular issue.
Okay.
That because over the years, Nigerians are not really organized. They have this psychological lack where they feel we need to get something first, we need to ensure that we get it.
Okay. But I'm not too comfortable when you say over the years Nigerians. You seem to give a general blanket, so which means you are part of. Or some Nigerians.
I believe we should accord blames to ourselves sometimes.
Yeah.
We should accord blames to ourselves sometimes. Even though, yes, policies that Mr. President has done over the times he is in power, it has really affected every one of us, even me.
Negatively?
Negatively.
Okay, but now do you see hope in what the president said, that things will improve and get better?
If you look at the statement he made about how to reduce inflation from 4.6 to 15%,
yeah,
he made mention of local production of consumables, production of drugs locally, I think increase of security so our farmers can have access to their farms. Give us concrete, structured plans that you have. You just come and mention statements. What are you doing to ensure that this happens? You cannot just come and tell us, I want to ensure that we produce local food, I want to ensure that we produce drugs. What are the plans, what are the agendas you are putting in place to ensure all this happens?
Okay.
That I think over the years I've heard public holders stating they'll do this, they'll do that, they'll do this. What actions are going on to ensure that this happens? I think you can't just go round around.
Thank you very much, Barrister Osamwa there. Well, my guests have taken a round discussion on the subject about Stampede and how to tackle it head on, that is unpacking the tragedy. But we're going to be taking a short break, after which we will be looking at the local government affairs and how to control the power dynamics between the state and the local government. Do stay.